Part 70. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 691. Wind style, big storm. Water style, big waterfall. Wind shadow gale and water shadow wave attacked together, and for a moment, the wind swept and the water waves surged. The large attack range left the 5 members of the Water Alliance team with no room to operate, and they were inevitably hit and lost blood. Unfortunately, the combat power of Wind Shadow Gale and Water Shadow Wave was not too high, so Yang Tian's 5 people did not lose much blood. Xianji waved his hand and directly performed a group treatment, instantly replenishing the lives of all the team members. "Madman, White Dog, I will entangle them, you rush in and kill the priest first," Reincarnation shouted loudly. As soon as the voice fell, he had already turned into a black Susanoo giant, rushed over, raised his sword and slashed at Yang Tian Huangmao. At the same time, the 8 Gates Madman and I Love Hayagahi Nathan nodded, rushed over, and attacked Xianji. In front of Xianji, Long Lu raised his shield to block and had already made a defensive posture. Diamond Leg. The 8 Gates Madman kicked out fiercely, instantly breaking Long Lu's defensive posture, and the huge force made Long Lu fly backwards uncontrollably. Copper Skin and Iron Bones. Xianji has the blood of the longevity monkey, among which the Copper Skin and Iron Back is a domineering skill. When Long Lu flew backwards and hit Xianji instantly activated the domineering body, so that Long Lu could not further knock him away, but stabilized Long Lu's body. In front. "Humph, you are not my opponent in a one-on-one fight, and now you dare to challenge both of us." Facing the attack of the Thunder Shadow Shun, the yellow-haired man laughed instead of being angry. The Thunder Shadow Shun controlled the Susanoo giant and swung his sword wildly, but it was just a feint. He didn't really want to attack the yellow-haired Yang Tian, but just wanted to contain him, wanting to buy enough time for the 8 Gates Madman and I Love Hayagahi Nada. After all, he knew that both the yellow-haired Yang Tian had the ability to backfire, especially the yellow-haired man's ability to backfire was even stronger. At that moment, it was obvious that the Reincarnation was just a feint. The yellow-haired man sneered, flashed his body, and actually rushed forward to take the opponent's slash. In an instant, the Reincarnation had been backfired and became a low health, and he couldn't help but be horrified. Soul-chasing arrow. Putting 2 fingers together, Yang Tian stretched out his left hand and pointed at the Susanoo giant that the Reincarnation had transformed into. The next moment, a black arrow shot out from the fingertips, crushing the air all the way and attacking the latter. At this time, the Reincarnation was already low on health. Facing the black arrow, he certainly didn't dare to take it head-on. As the black arrow continued to enlarge in his pupils, the Reincarnation quickly used the body flicking technique and teleported 3 yards to the side, causing the black arrow to miss. Unfortunately, once the soul-chasing arrow locks on the target, it must hit, and it can even turn. Unconsciously, the black arrow that had already flown behind the Reincarnation suddenly turned around and attacked the back of the Reincarnation. Puff! An arrow pierced the heart, and the Reincarnation had no time to react, and was killed on the spot. Before he died, he still stared with his eyes wide open, in disbelief. Hiss! Wow, what kind of skill is Brother Shui's black arrow? It can even turn. Isn't it too cool? Look at the expression of Reincarnation before he died. He was confused. 2333 is too funny. He probably doesn't even know how he died. There was a lot of noise outside the venue. The profession of Necromancer is still too rare, and high-end Necromancer is even rarer. Looking at the entire server, there is probably no second Necromancer player who has reached the maximum level of 200 except Yang Tian. And the soul-chasing arrow is the ultimate skill of the Necromancer at level 200. How could the audience outside the venue recognize it? They were immediately shocked. Muddy Waters and Ichiro Hanjian are too strong. Together, they killed Reincarnation instantly, even someone as strong as Reincarnation didn't even have the strength to resist. Since Reincarnation didn't have the strength to resist, I wouldn't be able to resist him at all. The two of them are the strongest men in the world. In the VIP seats outside the venue, Rongzhuang looked horrified. Only then could he understand the horror of Yang Tian Huangmao. Ah Shun, he's dead already. Hokage Kai was banned and couldn't play, and was anxiously waiting for his victory. However, before his victory came, the trump card of Reincarnation had already died. He originally thought that the ninja team was very good at team battles, but when facing Yang Tian Huangmao, they were as pale as paper. When he thought of this, his face suddenly lost its spirit. However, the more terrifying thing was still to come. The calamity of the Lich King. At the moment when Yang Tian shot and killed Shun the Raikage, the Lich King's scepter temporarily absorbed Shun the Raikage's soul, and immediately summoned him out in the form of a soul puppet. The soul puppet has basically no wisdom, and can't even speak, but the attribute strength is exactly the same as before, and it has all the skills before. Ten-Winged Angel, Death Gate, Susanoo, Tail Beast Power. In an instant, under Yang Tian's control, Shun the Raikage's soul puppet was fully powered, with a violent momentum, sweeping the entire stadium. Shuimeng Team vs Ninja Team, the third round of team competition started for less than half a minute. Yang Tian killed Shun the Raikage in seconds and summoned a soul puppet of the same strength. Xiao Fei also killed Hinata Hyuga in seconds with a sneak attack. So far, only the 8 Gates Madman, Wind Shadow Gale, and Water Shadow Wave are left in the ninja team. The 8 Gates Madman wanted to kill Xianji in 1 second, but was entangled by Long Lu and failed. The entire ninja team instantly fell into a huge disadvantage that was difficult to reverse. It's over. The opponent was too weak, and Yang Tian had lost interest. Extreme Summoning. Corpse Explosion. Boom boom boom. In the horrifying explosion, the 3 men of the 8 Gate Madman were instantly killed, and the game ended at the same time. In the third round, the Water Alliance team won and got 5 points. Congratulations to the Water Alliance team for defeating the Ninja team 12-3 and winning the World League Championship, the system sounded, announcing the result of the game. The scene was silent, and you could hear a pin drop, which was extremely weird. All the spectators outside the venue were still in the horrifying corpse explosion, and it was difficult to come back to their senses. Brother Shui is still Brother Shui, it's really terrifying. He crushed us all the way before, and now he crushed us in the World Finals. This is too much. 666, Champion, World Champion. Congratulations to Brother Shui, congratulations to the Water Alliance team, congratulations to China. We won the World Championship. The silence outside the venue for a few seconds, and then exploded instantly, with applause, cheers, and cheers, deafening. In the handshake session after the game, the 7 members of the Water Alliance team shook hands with the 7 members of the Ninja team in turn. Throughout the whole process, Hokage Kai, Reincarnation and others were pale, and their frustration at defeat was beyond words. However, they had no regrets. They had tried their best, and even the Water Alliance team let them go. Even so, they were still completely defeated and had no right to regret. Next year, we will definitely defeat you. When shaking hands with Yang Tian, Hokage Kai recovered and showed the demeanor of a captain. On the side, Reincarnation also had a burning look in his eyes. Yang Tian, Huangmao Xiaofei and others looked at each other and smiled in surprise. Where is next year? Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 692. The game Taixu was invented by the Hat Star. A certain powerful man from the Hat Star secretly learned many technologies on Earth. Just because the minds of the Hat Star people are more developed than those of the Earth people, the technology of the Hat Star has already surpassed the Earth's by an unknown number of times. Just talking about the UFO-type third-order spaceship given to Yang Tian by the Hat Star Ikki, the Earth cannot build it. In order to repay his kindness, the great master specially created Taegzu and gave it to the people on earth. In this way, the people on earth still spent several years before they finally succeeded in analyzing it, allowing Taegzu to operate normally. Taegzu is such a huge virtual world that it naturally consumes a huge amount of energy when running. And that kind of energy is limited, does not exist on the earth, and cannot be developed, so it cannot be replenished. Because of this, it is inevitable that Taegzu will stop serving one day. In Yang Tian's previous life, Taegzu stopped serving at 6 a.m. on August 8, 2135. In this life, Yang Tian also asked Lu Jun to confirm. Based on the energy consumption ratio, Lu Jun made precise calculations and concluded that Taegzu will stop at 6 a.m. on August 8, 2135. There may be errors, but even if there are errors, the time before and after will not exceed 2 hours. Today, the Water Alliance team won the championship of the World League on August 23, 2134. The first World League of Taegzu opened on August 1, 2134. Therefore, many people think that next year, that is, August 1, 2135, the second World League will begin. But that is impossible. In order to fight against the powerful Zerg, Taegzu is the most powerful strategic weapon for the people on Earth. Taegzu allows players to become awakened. After awakening, players will also have corresponding abilities in reality. Such an important strategic weapon is naturally strictly controlled by the world government. They implement the World League in order to discover some super strong people for reuse in the future. Although they already have the Awakened Alliance, the more powerful ones, the more prepared they are, the better. Their purpose of holding the World League is just that, holding it once is enough, there is no need to hold it a second time. Besides, there is not enough time. World Champion, awesome. Sword Emperor, Shinai, Devil's Right Hand, Xiefeng, Lan Yu, Shuangro, Lan Mao, and others all felt excitement in their hearts. Muddy Water, Angry Beauty, it's really terrible. The velvet-dressed demon girl and others felt complicated. The Water League team won the World Championship. Yang Tian, Huang Mao, and others lifted the championship trophy together, and the screams outside the stadium continued for a long time. As time goes by, the World League is coming to an end, and it's time for the final awards ceremony. Yang Tian, Huang Mao, Xiaofei and other 7 people each received a level 200 artifact. It was not random, but they could choose freely. Yang Tian chose a level 200 artifact staff. He already owns the Lich King's scepter and does not need this artifact staff. He plans to give it to his god clone after strengthening it to the full level. Not long after, Huang Mao and others also chose their own artifacts. As for the cash reward of $50 million, it has also been converted into soft sister coins and arrived in Yang Tian's account. It is up to him, the real captain, to make the redistribution. Runner-up, Team Ninja. Second runner-up, Beauty Team. The Royal Army, Team King. Even the top 8 teams in the world have each received rewards, but of course they are far less than the championship rewards. Even for the runner-up, the reward is only a holy weapon. The strong ones receive rewards and glory, and their IDs are also registered by the world government. When the time comes, they will be reused by the world government. The World League has finally come to an end. In the following days, the game became a hot topic and became the talk of players around the world. Towards the end of the month, the world broadcast rang, September 1st, the next world-class event will begin. The event is called, War of the Worlds. It is the official server of Taegzu, a huge battle between 12 war zones in total. The entire event lasts for 7 days. During the event, each player will receive 1 point for each kill of another person in the war zone. Those who die will be forcibly removed from the game and will not be able to go online during the event period. In addition, each team has 1 million protection quotas. When the number of players killed in a war zone reaches 1 million, the war zone will be declared failed, and all players will be forced to go offline and will not be able to go online during the event period. After the event, the person with the highest points will be ranked first and will be awarded 9 artifact sets. The person with the next highest points will be ranked second and will be rewarded with 6 artifact sets and 3 sacred artifact sets. Third place will be rewarded with 3 artifact sets and 6 sacred artifact sets. Fourth place will be rewarded with an artifact and a set of 6 sacred artifacts. Fifth place will be rewarded with a 6-piece sacred weapon set. Sixth place will be rewarded with a 3-piece sacred weapon set and a 6-piece fairy weapon set. In other words, this World War event is a war that breaks out in war zones. The strong ones need to kill enemies and gain points. They also need to protect their own war zone and resist intruders, lest all the 1 million protection quotas be killed and the entire war zone declares failure. Damn, it happens to be September 1st, and it lasts for 7 days. The time coincides with the Taixu War. Huang Mao was a little unhappy. It doesn't matter if I miss 1 or 2 great battles of the Great Void, as long as I can finally reach the 3rd level god, Yang Tian said with a smile. With his strength, he only needs to participate in 6 great battles of the Great Void, and he can be promoted to the 3rd level god within half a year. After he is promoted to the 3rd level god, he can enter the angel domain and the demon domain, kill the 12-winged angel and the 12-winged demon, forcibly destroy the balance between the upper realms, and forcibly accelerate the progress of the players. The end point of the Great Void should be the 3rd level god. In comparison, he is still willing to give up 1 great battle of the Great Void, participate in the World War and win the 1st place, and get the 9-piece set of artifacts. Although there are artifacts for sale in the God Realm store, the price is 10 billion to 100 billion merit points. Yang Tian needs 700 trillion merit points to be promoted to the 3rd level god, so he can still afford to buy artifacts. However, the artifacts sold in the Upper Realm store are all single pieces, and there are no sets. The set also has additional set attributes. For equipment of the same quality, the set is naturally better, and there is no doubt about this. For general professions, there are 11 equipment parts. For example, Sword King or Knight profession can equip 2 weapons at the same time, and they have 12 equipment parts in total. Of course, Knight uses a lance, which occupies 2 weapon parts. If a Knight wants to use 2 weapons, it is limited to a short sword and a small round shield. Compared with Knight, Sword King is even more special. Of course, Yang Tian has only 11 equipment parts. Now, the Lich King's Scepter, Amos's Hero Ring, and Thorn Dragon Armor are the only 3 good things. The rest are ordinary and need to be replaced and upgraded. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 693. Scepter of the Lich King and Amos's Hero's Ring and 9-piece set of artifacts. At that time, Yang Tian's equipment was perfect, and he had no choice but to give up the Thorn Dragon armor. The Thorn Dragon armor is heavy armor. In addition to the double backlash, it is not suitable for Yang Tian, and its strength cannot be compared with the 9-piece set of artifacts. When the time comes, when Yang Tian obtains the 9-piece set of divine weapons, he will naturally replace the Thorn Dragon armor and give it to his divine clone. Late August. In the Chinese theater, Yang Tian sent out an invitation and held a combat meeting. Xianyuan Empire and Holy Empire, Xianyuan Long Alice, Yang Tian Huangmao participated. Demon Empire, Demon's Right Hand, Xiefeng, Juyu, and others participated. Golden Empire, I Love Gold Coins, Shinayu and others participated. In the Kingdom of Swords, the Sword King participates. In the Chinese war zone, many empires and many big bosses gathered together. Everyone, the current activity of World War is based on war zones. Each theater has only 1 million protection quotas. Once the number of casualties exceeds 1 million, the theater will be declared a failure. For this reason, we need an alliance. Please give me a favor and join forces to resist the invaders. Yang Tian glanced at the many big bosses and said straight to the point. You can refuse. But I guarantee that when the event is over, the empire of the refuser will evaporate in an instant, Huang Mao added with a sinister smile. Yang Tian and Huang Mao looked at each other and smiled, while many other big guys were sweating profusely and their scalps were numb. It's all up to you, we will do whatever you say. Many of the big guys nodded in agreement, not daring to show any disobedience. In the early morning of September 1st, Yang Tian sent his own god clone and Huang Mao sent his own god clone to stay in the Chinese war zone. Nowadays, the two god clones have already reached the second-level god realm. Except for the equipment, which is not as luxurious as the original one, the other attributes, bloodline, and even various skills are exactly the same as the original one, which can be said to be very powerful. The two god clones have joined forces. Looking at the official server of Taixu, apart from the two of them, I am afraid there is no opponent. Now, all the empires in the Chinese theater have been aligned and all are connected. Once an enemy invades and reaches the Chinese war zone, the two god clones can teleport over immediately, resist, and kill the invader. At the same time, a total of more than 10 people, including Yang Tian, Huang Mao, Xianji Zaifi, Qin Yu and others, Lan Yu Shuangguo and others, teleported to the world ocean. When Yang Tian slaughtered hundreds of divine beasts, he was in the world. There are multiple Water Alliance teleportation arrays deployed in the ocean. Arriving at the world ocean, Yang Tian led the team to sneak into the Spiral Sea, a branch of the Japanese war zone. At exactly 6 o'clock in the morning that day, the World War event started. Yang Tian led a team into the Angel Empire in the Japanese war zone, and instantly launched a large-scale massacre. Muddy Waters. Mr. Huang? Water Alliance team. Asshole. The event has just begun, they are moving so fast. Yang Tian led the team into the Japanese war zone. In a certain main city of the Angel Empire, there were even many low-level players in the main city. But Yang Tian and others don't care. During the event, they only need to kill other war zone players to get points. It doesn't matter if the opponent is a full-level expert or a level 1 newcomer. With a wave of extreme summons, Yang Tian summoned a black army of undead, and together with Huang Mao and others, they rampaged and massacred in the enemy's main city. In just a few moments, tens of thousands of people were killed in the Japanese war zone. After some loot was revealed, they were directly forced out of the game by the system and could not go online again during the event. Many Japanese players were killed and screamed in agony. Soon, two brothers and sisters, the demon Nanami, Miyamoto Takeshi, the boss Luo, and Senbon arrived via teleportation. Even Hokage Kai, Reikage Shun and others rushed over. The event World War is very special. It is based on war zones. Even though the Ninja Empire and the Angel Empire have a big feud, they have to temporarily join forces. Everyone who should appear has already appeared. As for God's left hand and God's right hand, they have been driven out of the Japanese war zone. Now they have no war zone and no home. Fortunately, they are both angels and have gone to the angel realm. Of course, for players, if there is no war zone, there will be no military rank and no fighting spirit. I believe that they will not develop very well in the angel realm, and their future is bleak. Muddy Water, Angry Beauty, you are so brave. With only a dozen people, you dare to break into our Japanese war zone, the demon girl shouted coldly. Yang Tian, Huang Mao and others looked at each other and smiled. Didn't we already break through once a few months ago? Now that I am stronger, what can I do if I try it again? Also, you are the only strong ones in the Chinese theater, and the rest are idiots. If you leave, aren't you afraid that the Chinese theater will be besieged by powerful enemies? Hokage Kai and Reikage Shun shouted coldly. You don't need to worry about this, Yang Tian smiled lightly. Nowadays, looking at the official server of Taizhou, the Chinese theater is the strongest theater. Now that the event has started, most people will pick the weak ones first. Moreover, even if there is a powerful enemy besieging the Chinese theater, Yang Tian Huangmao's god clone is not a decoration. Kill. After the unpleasant conversation ended, the three leaders, Demon Girl, Miyamoto Takeshi, and Hokage Kai, roared, and their troops attacked wildly. Protected by the turtle. With a thought in Yang Tian's mind, he summoned a huge phantom of a divine turtle, covering more than a dozen of his people and his army of undead. The enemy launched a fierce wave of fire, and Yang Tian was the only one to bear the damage. No matter what. After the previous massacre, Yang Tian sucked countless blood, and his body had already formed a scarlet shield with extremely terrifying strength. It didn't matter if he could withstand a wave of concentrated fire from the enemy. Kill. Yang Tian waved his hand, and fought with the enemy together with Huang Mao and his army of undead. The calamity of the Lich King. As the enemies continued to fall to the ground and die, Yang Tian's side instantly had more soul puppets. The number of troops increased. Corpse explosion. Boom. After the horrible explosion, Yang Tian directly cleared the field, not only killing the strong men such as Lei Yingshun, Yao Nu, and Miyamoto Wu in seconds, but also killing more than 100,000 Japanese players in one wave. After cleaning up the spoils, Yang Tian and others continued to act. As time passed, the 1 million protection quotas in the Japanese theater were all killed. At that moment, all the players in the Japanese theater were forcibly asked to leave the game and could not go online during the event. In the huge Japanese theater, only a dozen invaders such as Yang Tian and Huang Mao were left. In this wave of massacre, Yang Tian got the highest points and ranked first in the login points list, followed by Huang Mao. World broadcast, exclusive to the event Japan Theater, failed. The world broadcast sounded, shaking the world. So fast. Many bigwigs in the major theaters felt depressed. It must be Han Shui and his men, it must be the Chinese theater, because the Chinese theater is the closest to the Japanese theater. So that means Han Shui and his men are not in the Chinese theater now? No one is in their old nest? What a good opportunity. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 694. In various war zones, many big bosses had changes in their hearts. Nowadays, Yang Tian Huangmao is recognized as the strongest in the world. Even Lei Yingshun and Fu Zhuang are far from comparable, let alone others. What's even more terrifying is that Yang Tian and Huang Mao are wearing the same pants and are in the same war zone. Normally speaking, in this event, Yang Tian Huang Mao will definitely take first and second place, and others will have no chance at all. Unless many big guys from all over the world joined forces to take advantage of the absence of Yang Tian and Huang Mao to attack the Chinese war zone's lair. At that time, the Chinese theater failed, and Yang Tian Huang Mao was forced to offline, and the points were fixed. Korean War Zone. Captain, what a great opportunity, Kixuan said eagerly. Well, the target is the Chinese theater, let's go. Fu Zhuang gave the order and led the army to teleport to the World Ocean. They have also been to the World Ocean, and naturally there will be their teleportation array in the World Ocean. China War Zone's Haihei, the Sea of Ruins. Hyunbin and others in the velvet outfit had just arrived and met some familiar faces. Super, Caesar, Buddy Duke, many top overseas players are gathered here. Ha ha ha. Everyone looked at each other with a tacit understanding. The army is united and powerful, and the number is only 10,000, but every one of them is famous. Currently, there are no Chinese players in the Sea of Ruins. The army in velvet uniforms arrived in the Chinese war zone and began to sweep away. In a certain main city, under the raids of their group, Chinese theater players continued to die, causing their points to skyrocket. It doesn't matter anything else. Let's kill 1,000,000 people first and then defeat the Chinese theater. Fu Zhuang gave the order, his heart agitated. He knew that he was no match for Yang Tianhuangmao now. But in this event, Yang Tianhuangmao failed because he overturned the old nest in the Chinese war zone. He must be the first place and get the 9-piece set of artifacts. When that time comes, he may not be able to compete with Yang Tianhuangmao. Okay, many big guys responded loudly. The big bosses' eyes flickered, and each had their own hidden agendas. They all wanted to get the first place in this event, and they would never be able to watch one person in velvet clothing become big. However, the top priority now is to defeat the Chinese war zone first. After all, Yang Tianhuangmao is much more terrifying than him in a velvet suit. Swish! 2 white lights flashed, and Yang Tianhuangmao teleported over, arriving at the battlefield instantly. The second stage of Shenlong transformation. Powerful mountains and forests. Tourist Tiangang. The second stage of Shenlong transformation. Be a long way. Tyrannosaurus pattern. The momentum surged and shocked the entire audience, instantly making some Chinese players around them feel confident and applaud. At the same time, Feng Zhuang and others were startled. Muddy water, angry beauty? How could that happen? The Japanese war zone was not destroyed by them. The big bosses were filled with questions and couldn't believe it. Yang Tianhuangmogan turned over the Japanese war zone. At this time, he should have arrived at the next war zone. Although they can teleport back at any time, the invaders here have just arrived, so their support is too fast, right? Captain, we just received information that Muddy Waters, Yu Hanjian, and others have invaded our Korean theater, Kixuan said with a bitter look on his face. Hearing this, Fu Zhuang's complexion changed, and he felt extremely uncomfortable. Since Muddy Waters and Yu Hanjian appeared in the Korean war zone, the 2 people in front of them should be god clones. Damn it, those 2 bastards are too arrogant, so they sent 2 god clones to send us away. Buddy Duke, Super, Caesar and other big guys spoke each. It looked like they were angry, but in fact they were secretly happy. They wish they could finish playing in both the Chinese theater and the Korean theater. In that case, all the yellow plush outfits would be cool. In addition, Raikid Shun has already taken the lead, so don't they have a chance to win this event? It's just 2 god clones, don't be afraid. Let's defeat them in the Chinese theater together. Super and others roared. Feng Zhuang looked ugly and was still worried about the Korean war zone. Fleece clothing, you have no choice. For you, compared to Muddy Waters or Yu Hanjian getting the 9-piece artifact set, it should be better for us to get it, right? Super shouted coldly. Feng Zhuang was silent for a moment and nodded. Indeed, he did not want Yang Tianhuangmao to get the 9-piece artifact set under any circumstances, otherwise, he would never be able to surpass those 2 people. In that case, you don't have to think blindly, let's do it together, Super shouted. Just 2 god clones. Humph, the 2 of us are enough to deal with you. Trash. Suddenly, the yellow-haired god clone said with a ferocious smile. Yang Tian God's clone and Huangmao God's clone both have level 200 artifact weapons in their hands, and they are both strengthened by add 100. Although those 2 weapons are not as good as the Lich King's scepter and the Yellow Dragon Spear, they are definitely not bad, at least much better than the weapons of other people present. Compared to the original god, the clone is only inferior in weapons and equipment. However, the weapons and equipment of Yang Tian God's clone and Huangmao God's clone are also very luxurious, and their strength is infinitely close to their original form. You keep chirping. Although it's funny, it should be over. The clone of the yellow-haired god smiled arrogantly, making everyone on the enemy's side startled. Immediately, Yang Tianshan's clone's momentum shook, his body expanded countless times, and instantly turned into a gluttonous ferocious beast. Swallowing the sky and domineering. Roar, the terrifying and huge doughty beast, as big as a mountain, roared, and the sky and the earth changed color. Dark clouds covered the sky, lightning and thunder roared, the earth cracked, and all the buildings in the entire city were destroyed. Infinite adverse winds rolled out, as if to send everything in the world to the Dowdy's big mouth. Hiss. In the city, all the Chinese players looked at the doomsday-like situation in front of them, and were stunned for a moment, and took a breath of cold air. Of course, Yang Tian's swallowing domineering aura had no effect on them. The infinite adverse wind would directly penetrate their bodies, as if they did not exist at all. This was obviously a friendly judgment. As for the enemy group, non-second level gods, 10 winged angels, and 10 winged demons were all twisted and sent to the terrifying Dowdy's big mouth, screaming. Rongchuang, Kixuan, Hyunbin, Super, Caesar, Buddy Duke and other second-level gods were also affected by the headwind. Although they were not sent to the mouth of the glutton, they could not move freely. Yang Tian, or Yang Tian's divine clone, is a second-level god. His swallowing domineering power directly devours and kills lives below the second-level god. Although the second-level god cannot devour or kill instantly, it will also be restricted and the body will not be able to move freely, as if it is controlled. Only the third-level god, or even more terrifying existence, is immune enough and will not be affected by the headwind at all. Hiss, then, what kind of monster is that? Muddy water, why did it become such a terrible monster? Is it bloodline again? How many bloodlines does he have? Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 695. Among the enemy group, there are still a few second-level god-level experts like the velvet-clad Hyunbin, Super Caesar, and Buddy Duke. The vast majority of them are still first-level divine realm powerhouses. In an instant, except for the strong men such as Fu Chuang, everyone else was swept into the Dowdy's mouth by the violent headwind. Cold death reminders sounded in the ears of Fu Chuang and others, making their scalps numb. Even the strong ones like them could only barely resist the headwind. Although they would not be sent to the Dowdy mouth, their actions were also restricted, as if they were being charged. It's too scary. This monster is so scary. Since Muddy Water's god clone has this ability, then Super Caesar, Buddy Duke and others looked frightened and their voices trembled. Then, Muddy Waters himself must also have this ability. In other words, he didn't take any serious action in the World League at all. It was like child's play. Even so, he still won the championship. Feng Zhuang continued, his heart trembling. Call out. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the clone of the yellow-haired god rushed out wildly. His combat power was beyond the limit, and he killed all the people in Fuchuang in just a few strokes. The dark clouds recede and spring returns to the earth. A city completely disappeared and was reduced to ruins. But there is also a gain, that is, the powerful players such as Hyunbin, Super Caesar, Buddy Duke, etc. have all fallen, all have been left behind, all have been forcibly removed from the game by the system, and cannot come online again during the event. In other words, many overseas theaters are completely indifferent, and only the Chinese theater is dominated by one family. At the same time, on the other side, Yang Tian himself also defeated the Korean theater with a move of swallowing the sky. 3 days passed in a flash, and Yang Tian, Huang Mao and others slaughtered 15 overseas war zones. At that time, except for the Chinese theater, all other theaters failed. A wave of terrifying operations by Yang Tian and others brought the World War event to an early end. The event ends early and rewards will be distributed as usual. Yang Tian ranked first in the standings and received a 9-piece set of artifacts. Huang Mao came in second and received a 6-piece set of artifacts and a 3-piece set of sacred artifacts. Xiao Fei came in third and received a 3-piece set of artifacts and a 6-piece set of sacred artifacts. Because the event ended early, overseas players can go online again. In the following time, Yang Tian, Huang Mao Xiaofei and others went to the upper realm again to participate in the Taixu War. The Taixu battlefield is opened once a month for 7 days. When the Taixu battlefield opened, Yang Tian Huang Mao went to fight, and when he had some free time, he took his parents to level up. Time flies, and half a year has passed. Yang Tian took the lead in accumulating 700 trillion merit points and received 6 third-level godheads from the sky. Yang Tian reached the third-level divine realm, and all 6 bloodlines in his body were upgraded to the third-level divine beast bloodline. As for why there are only 6 third-level godheads, it is obviously because Yang Tian still has a hidden bloodline that has not yet been awakened. Next, Yang Tian broke into the realm of angels and demons alone, angrily killing 12 winged angels and 12 winged demons, forcibly destroying the balance between the upper realms. Since then, the battles between the upper realms have become more frequent, with battles occurring almost every day and night. This is of course a good thing for players. This wave of operations by Yang Tian forcibly improved the advancement progress of the players, and of course it was only limited to the strong ones. This is a benefit that only belongs to the strong. In fact, there are still many ordinary players who have not yet reached the full level. When Yang Tian arrived at the third level god, he found that the progress bar of the merit value had completely disappeared. Sure enough, I guessed right, the third level god is the end point of Taixu. In terms of realm, I have reached the end of Taixu, so what about the ability of the Daodi bloodline? Yang Tian's heart moved, and he swallowed a forest with one move of devouring heaven's domineering force. In an instant, his life, strength, defense and other attributes increased, and his physical strength increased. Although the degree was very small, but there was no bottleneck. There's no rush, resources are limited, let's wait until Huang Mao Xiaofei and the others are promoted to third-level gods, as well as Long Alice and parents. Yang Tian thought silently in his heart. Huang Mao Xiaofei and others are very powerful and do not need his protection. So, he took his parents, Taki and Alice, to kill angels and demons. By now, Yang Tian's parents were naturally god-level powerhouses. Time flies, and half a year has passed in the blink of an eye. July 20th, 2135. When time comes to this day, the upper world, that is, the realm of gods, angels and demons has long been in a mess and dilapidated. Almost all NPCs have died, including the 3 third-level gods in the divine domain. It's not that Yang Tian killed them, but that many strong men have reached the third level of God realm. The 3 parties have been fighting for a long time, and they have also fallen. Of course, the current decline of the divine realm is also due to Yang Tian Huang Mao's inaction. They are players after all. The position is naturally on the side of the players. The later the period, the more so. Countless NPCs died, their souls roamed the Taixu battlefield, and some entered the soul world. There are too many dead souls in the soul world now. Yang Tian also learned that even if the soul is swallowed by an angel, the soul will still appear in the soul world and will not really die. In other words, not only players will not truly die in Taixu, but neither will NPCs. After the NPC falls, there is still a soul. The soul will either wander around or be transferred to the soul world, and will not really die. This is very strange, which makes Yang Tian have some inexplicable thoughts in his heart. On July 20th, 2135. The Taixu battlefield, which had long been razed to the ground and was as flat as the original, broke out again. After a fierce fight, only Yang Tian and Huang Mao were left standing. Countless strong men such as Rong Chuang, Liang Shun, Yeonu, Miyamoto Wu, De Lao Luo, Super, Caesar the Great, Buddy Duke, Jian Huang, Shanai Yu, etc., all fell to the ground and died. Damn, after a year, I still can't surpass them. And the gap seems to be getting bigger and bigger. Many big-time figures smiled bitterly in their hearts. Everyone, don't rush to go back and revive. At this point, there are some things I want to tell you, Yang Tian said. While the big guys were surprised, Xianji Xiaofei Long Lu and others, Xian Yuan Longer, Alice and others came up. They did not participate in that war. Brother Xian, Alice Yang Tian called out. Xianji and Alice nodded in understanding, and each released group resurrection, resurrecting all the big guys present. Resurrection, extremely magical. Unfortunately, this skill is only effective in Taeju and has no effect in reality. In reality, life is only once, which is extremely precious, completely different from the game. After resurrection, many big guys looked at Yang Tian quietly, waiting for Yang Tian to speak. What I say next, although you find it hard to believe, is all true. Yang Tian looked serious, and slowly told all the secrets of the insect domain and the awakened. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, Ba Wang Shi-san. Chapter 696. The big guys were already moved, stunned, and unbelievable. Too ridiculous, muddy water, even if you say this, it's hard to believe. Lei Yingshun snorted coldly. In the past year, he challenged Yang Tian countless times, and all of them were defeated. At this point, to a certain extent, he has recognized Yang Tian, at least recognized Yang Tian's strength. But at this time, he still couldn't believe what Yang Tian said. Not only him, but almost all the big guys present couldn't believe it. I've said it before, this is the fact. Otherwise, do you think that with the current technological power of the Earth, it is possible to develop Taeju? Yang Tian asked back. The big guys were stunned. This Taeju was developed by aliens. Taeju allows players to awaken and gain power in reality. In order to deal with the Zerg, Taeju is the most important strategic weapon for the people on Earth. In addition to our official servers, Taeju also has awakening servers. The reason I know this is because I am already an awakener. Think about it carefully. I have no need and no position to deceive you about this kind of thing, Yang Tian said quickly. The big guys fell silent and looked at each other in shock. Compared to the complete disbelief just now, now they believe it a little. Indeed, Yang Tian has no need to play tricks on them. Taeju will be shut down on August 8th, and all people will awaken. Then the Zerg army will invade the Earth. The end of the world? Muddy water, are all these things true? The demon girl Nanami stared at Yang Tian deeply and asked. Taeju will be shut down on August 8th, and the whole nation will awaken. These are inevitable. But whether the Zerg army will invade on the same day is uncertain, but you only need to know that the Zerg army will invade the Earth one day. Do you know the pyramids of ancient Egypt? There is a space wormhole in it. In fact, the Zerg has invaded the Earth a long time ago, but the scale is very small and it was contained by the awakened. Yang Tian explained patiently. In the previous life, the Zerg army invaded the Earth on the day when Taeju was shut down. But Yang Tian felt that the previous life was the previous life, and the present life was the present life. Many things may not be so coincidental. Of course, the Zerg army will invade the Earth one day. This is also inevitable. It is just a matter of time. At this point, the players of Taeju have reached a considerable level, and many superpowers have been born. The Zerg army has not invaded the Earth yet, and Yang Tian is very fortunate. If the Zerg army invaded the Earth a few years earlier, the consequences would be unimaginable. Awakening server, Taeju actually has another server? Those awakened ones are very powerful. Lei Yingshun stared at Yang Tian and asked. The point is not here. Looking at Lei Yingshun's burning eyes, Yang Tian smiled helplessly. Lei Yingshun has a strong self-esteem and is warlike. Forget it, since you asked, I'll just say it by the way. You all have entered the peak of Taeju. I believe that you are not much worse than the peak strongmen of the awakening server. Yang Tian smiled. The endpoint of Taegzu is the third-level Divine Realm, and the Awakening server is naturally the same. In the same realm, they all have a set of divine weapons. Even if there is a gap between the peak strongmen, the gap will not be too big. P.S. The third-level Divine Realm strongmen must have a set of divine weapons, because they can afford it. Of course, they are all single pieces, not a set. The superiority of the Awakening server is mainly their high average level. As for the peak combat power, there should be little difference. As for himself and Huang Mao, Yang Tian thought they were the strongest, and they could sweep away even the strong men in the Awakening server. There was no other reason, just because Yang Tian Huang Mao had one more human king realm than ordinary people. The Awakening server is far less than the official server of Taegzu, and the resources are relatively limited. Of course, the number of Awakeners is relatively small, and on average, their resources are quite rich. So that means, the total resources of the Awakening server are limited, and the per capita resources are rich. Because of this, the average level of the Awakening server is extremely high, and I am afraid that everyone is not a weakling. But because the total resources are limited, and the conditions for becoming a human king are harsh, it is difficult for the Awakening server to give birth to a human king, and there are even no conditions for giving birth to a human king. Looking at the entire Taegzu official server, there are only 2 human kings, Yang Tian Huang Mao, and this is because they have the help of something like a search device. The official server of Taegzu is like this, and the total resources of the Awakening server are limited, let alone. So that means that now looking at the entire Earth, Yang Tian Huang Mao is the most special existence. In addition to the 2 of them, Miyamoto Takeshi, or the owner of the Lust Snake bloodline who may exist in the Awakening suit, is also very special. The next one is the likes of Rong Chuang, Liang Shun, and Jian Huang. Xianyuan Longer is also one of them. Her Xianyuan sword is the strongest divine weapon in Taegzu, without a doubt. Although there is no distinction between second-level and third-level artifacts in Taegzu, artifacts are artifacts. But the strength of Xianyuan sword is still far beyond ordinary artifacts, and it is not the same concept at all. Hearing Yang Tian's story, many big guys present secretly breathed a sigh of relief. They are all arrogant people. It's okay to be suppressed by Yang Tian Huang Mao. If there are people stronger than them in the Awakening suit, they can't accept it. At the same time, their eyes are also focused on Yang Tian Huang Mao. Yang Tian said, the peak powerhouses of the Awakening server are not much different from them. The implication is that Yang Tian Huang Mao can also beat the Awakening server. At this point, they still don't know the existence of the human king, but they know that Yang Tian Huang Mao has multiple bloodlines in his body at the same time. This ability is really too strong, and they can't help but accept it. Unconsciously, they went deeper into it and believed more and more what Yang Tian said. Everyone. Strictly speaking, there is no big feud between us. Some conflicts and disputes over fame and fortune are limited to the game. Right now, Taegzu is about to shut down. To some extent, we can be said to have known each other without fighting. I have no other intention in telling you these things. I just hope that everyone can be prepared. Although our countries, regions, skin, hair color, and eye color are different, but we are all Earthlings. We are all sons of the Earth, and only the Zerg are our real enemies. You are all very powerful, which has both advantages and disadvantages. I hope you can use your strength in the right place and never forget your roots and do the wrong things. Otherwise, you should know the consequences. Yang Tian used courtesy first and then force. At the end, he swept his cold eyes over everyone, which already had an obvious warning and threat. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 697. The many awakened people in the Awakening server are led and controlled by the world government and the Alliance of Awakened People. This Taegzu is officially served, although in the future, the world government and the Alliance of Awakeners will also extend an olive branch to the powerful. But now, Yang Tian, as the strongest and pinnacle being in the official server, naturally needs to be educated first. Once you do something wrong, the so-called consequence is death, Huang Mao added with a grim smile. Hearing this, all the big guys took a deep breath, and cold sweat broke out on their faces. Obviously, Huang Mao's direct threat was more effective than Yang Tian's tactful warning. Okay, that's all for today. Let's all leave so we can do our own thing. Yang Tian waved his hand. The big guys had different expressions and gradually dispersed. Among them, the madness in Takeshi Miyamoto's eyes flashed away. As the owner of the bloodline of the evil god, he is destined to be extraordinary in this life, and unlike Yang Tian, who also has the bloodline of the white tiger and the righteous god, his desires will only continue to expand and he will be unable to extricate himself. At the same time, Takeshi Miyamoto is not a good person, and he will not suppress his desires at all. In Takezu, he was unable to dominate and felt bored long ago, so he put his thoughts in reality. Now, he knows that he will awaken his power in reality, which can be described as ecstasy. The higher the power and status, the stronger I will be. In the future, when I awaken my strength, I can expand my territory in reality. When I rule Japan and other countries, even Muddy Waters and Huang Mao will definitely not be my opponents. At that time, I was the only king of the earth. What kind of Zerg? They were all ants. Miyamoto Takeshi's ambition grew and he left in a hurry. Little did he know that Yang Tian Huang Mao had already noticed him. Unlike others, Takeshi Miyamoto has the bloodline of the greedy wolf evil god. If there are no restrictions, he is destined to embark on a dark path. After Takeshi Miyamoto and all outsiders left, Yang Tian suddenly said. He was very aware of the power of the evil god. Frankly speaking, if it had not been suppressed by the white tiger, the gluttonous evil god in his body would have gone berserk. Should we strangle him in the cradle? Huang Mao asked. Well, leave it to the world government and the awakened alliance. We won't be able to take action until there are established facts, Yang Tian said. The reason why people are human is that they have so-called rationality and know how to abide by their own bottom line. If you really do whatever you want and frequently step on the line, you will become a beast of desire, unable to control yourself, and gradually lose yourself. Human nature is inherently evil, so we must be stricter with ourselves. Before criminals commit crimes, they are just ordinary people, nothing more. In the next few days, with the cooperation and support of many forces, Yang Tian made the following statistics. In the official server, there are about 100 strong people in the third level of the Divine Realm. Former players from the Water Alliance team, players from the Blue Moon team, Xianyu and Long Alice, Xiaojin, and even Yang Tian's parents were among them. Of course, realm belongs to realm, and strength belongs to strength. Yang Tian's parents are weak, and they may not be as good as ordinary second-level God realm experts in a real fight, but Yang Tian is already satisfied. It is enough for his parents to protect themselves. There are about 30,000 second-level Divine Realm experts. There are more than 1 million first-level Divine Realm experts. This is one of the foundations of the confrontation between the Earthlings and the Zerg, in addition to the alliance of Awakeners. In early August, the official Takezu suddenly announced that the service would be suspended at 6 a.m. on August 8, 2135. The official only announced the suspension time without any other written explanation, which made countless players furious. Although Takezu is a free game, everyone has developed a deep relationship with them after playing it for several years. It's really abominable to stop the server when you say you want to stop it. As a result, the official forum of Takezu was directly blasted by angry players. It was filled with filthy words. The most outrageous thing was that they were in various languages, which was simply unsightly. Despite this, there is still no official explanation. Some official public figures, such as the official commentators of Xiaodong Xiaomei and others, have also been bombarded with countless comments on their official accounts. Holy crap, are you all dead? Come out and explain. There are countless such messages. However, the official public officials seemed to be really dead and did not dare to show up to explain. Brother Shui, what's going on now? Do you have any inside information? Countless angry players took a step back and checked the world broadcast to ask Yang Tian, Huang Mao and other game celebrities. We're all holding it back, waiting for the official explanation regarding this. Yang Tian held an emergency meeting and sealed the deal. Now that things have happened, Fu Chuang, Lei Yingshun, Yao Nu and others completely believe that what Yang Tian said before is true. After exhausting their efforts but not getting even a single explanation, countless players around the world quit the game in disappointment. Of course, Takezu will be shut down in a few days. It doesn't matter if players quit the game now. They will still awaken their strength after the server is shut down. As for whether you want to delete your account, non-existent. Takezu has quietly cancelled the function of deleting accounts long ago. This is of course a good intention. After all, the server of Takezu is about to be discontinued. My dear players, you can't practice again even if you delete your account now. Next, a large number of videos and pictures of the Zerg and even the Awakened fighting against the Zerg suddenly appeared on the internet, heralding the end of the world. The world is in turmoil, and countless people are afraid, angry, and violent. This is obviously the official method of Takezu, or the world government, to give people a warning. Otherwise, when the end of the world comes, people's psychological defenses will collapse and they will be caught off guard. 3 days later, the world government and the United Nations responded positively. Dear compatriots, unfortunately, the videos and pictures you have seen on the internet recently are real. What everyone guesses, fears, and is angry about also exists. In the video and pictures, the alien creatures with exaggerated power are called Zerg. There is a space wormhole in the mysterious pyramid of ancient Egypt. In recent years, alien Zergs have been constantly invading our beautiful Earth through that space wormhole. Unfortunately, we have no way to block that space wormhole. We have sent hundreds of brave warriors into the wormhole, and their whereabouts are still unknown. Because of this, we have no way to stop the Zerg from invading the Earth. But there is always a way out. In those videos, did you see the heroes who defeated the Zerg? We still have power. We call those humans who have power, like Supermen, awakened ones. Takezu, this magical virtual online game, allows us to have the power in the game in reality. Become an awakened one. I'm sorry, for the sake of social order, we are only now telling the truth. We have not been able to let all humans participate in Takezu and have not allowed everyone to become awakened. But in recent years, we have been vigorously promoting Takezu, and there is no age limit. Even the elderly and children can register an account. To a certain extent, we have made Takezu a game for all people, and have tried to let as many people as possible become awakened. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 698. In addition to the official server, Takezu also has awakening servers. We have devoted all our resources to cultivate powerful warriors, powerful awakeners, and powerful heroes. In recent years, although the scale is small, the Zerg has continued to invade, but they have all been killed by our powerful awakeners, which shows our strong foundation. Of course, all players of Takezu will complete the awakening for everyone when Takezu is shut down, and help everyone become awakeners. Takezu, this magical online game, can give us power and become stronger and stronger. If possible, we hope that Takezu will exist forever and never shut down. But when the energy is exhausted, Takezu will eventually shut down. As for the shutdown time, it will be 6 a.m. on August 8, 2135, which is 3 days later. I believe that the official Takezu has issued a corresponding announcement. Takezu is about to shut down, and this cannot be changed. Fortunately, many powerful awakeners have been born on our Earth now. We will defeat all invading Zerg and protect the Earth. By the way, I want to warn some lawless elements that if you think you can do whatever you want with power, you will regret it. World Government, August 5, 2135. People are suffering under the fear of the unknown. The world government finally made a strong positive response through all media channels. Good. In front of computers, mobile phones, TVs, radios. In front of the expo screens in cities and streets in countries around the world. Ordinary people screamed loudly. Fear is fear, panic is panic, but the strong response of the world government really makes people feel at ease. Then, the cameras switched. A representative of the world government finished his declaration, and the camera was given to a group of young people. The group of young people came from all over the world, with different skin, hair, and eye colors, but they all wore silver uniforms, and Lu Yan was among them. Obviously, they were the awakening clothes of Taeju, and they were also a group of representatives in the Awakener Alliance. Lu Yan and a group of people stood at the back, with only one man standing at the front. His short blonde hair stood upside down, his features were handsome, and he had a hint of arrogant smile on his face. He had a kind of confidence and calmness that could not be expressed in words. My name is Jin Tong, the #1 Awakener, and I have killed more than 10,000 Zerg. Jin Tong held the microphone and smiled proudly at the camera. We, the Awakener Alliance, have been fighting against the Zerg in recent years. We have experienced the baptism of blood and are fearless. Fellow countrymen from all over the world, you don't have to be afraid. Even if the Zerg army invades the Earth, they will never pass the level of our Awakener Alliance. Jin Tong smiled confidently. The arrogant words and confident smile infected people's hearts. Good. In front of the expo screen, ordinary people cheered loudly. The fear in their hearts needs the strong response of the world government and Jin Tong to resolve it. As for the majority of Taeju players, at first, they did feel fear and panic, but after hearing that they could become awakened soon, the fear in their hearts was greatly reduced, and they even felt excited to fight the Zerg. Since they were not afraid, they naturally felt a little disgusted with the arrogance of the golden pupil. #1 Awakener. Who gave Jin Tong the confidence? Where does that put my brother Shui? He's right. Our official server players haven't awakened yet. Jin Tong, he's the #1 in the awakening server, so he's naturally the #1 among all the awakeners. It's a pity that he'll roll down from the #1 throne in 3 days. Ha ha ha, that's right. There are billions of players in our official server, and Brother Shui and Huang Xiao stand out. Their strength is terrifying. What a shitty awakening server, how many players can there be? It's just a small fight, and it can't be compared with Brother Shui and the others. Haha, 666, in 3 days, everyone will awaken. Jin Tong gave up the first throne, and I'm afraid he'll roll out of the top 100 in an instant. The majority of players in the official server of Taeju collectively denounced, but it's a pity that Jin Tong on the screen couldn't hear their voices at all, and was still boasting, showing the style of the Awakener Alliance. After a strong response, no matter how the world responds, in general, it's still moving in a good direction. Representatives of the world government breathed a sigh of relief. In fact, their hearts were not as strong as they appeared, and their previous responses were also concealed. They did not mention the Zerg domain, the Hat Starmen who developed Taeju, and other aliens that may exist in the Zerg domain. If they were really confident in their own strength, they would not have moved the headquarters of the Awakener Alliance from the vicinity of the ancient Egyptian pyramids. Hiding something and only making a strong response is also to stabilize and appease people's hearts. Otherwise, the world will be turbulent, and the crime rate and suicide rate will soar exponentially. August 7, 2135. On the last day, countless players quit the game, and Taeju has come to an end. At the same time, on this day, NPC, woke up. All the NPCs in Tegzu suddenly shuddered, as if waking up from a big dream. Immediately, a white light flashed, and most of them disappeared as if they were offline. Free, we are finally free. Between heaven and earth, all the residual souls ascended to the soul world. From then on, the soul world was full of complete souls. The number is more than billions. They roared excitedly, then turned into white light and disappeared. On the other side, Yang Tian gathered all NPC servants. Xianyuan Long Alice, Dr. Edith, Xiaojian, Dwarf King Carrie, Golden Skull Form. Of course, Hill followed Alice. For Yang Tian, war servants are different from war pets. Yang Tian regards them as friends and everyone has an equal relationship. Now that Tegzu is about to cease serving, where will Xianyuan Long and others go? Should they follow Yang Tian to the real world, or stay in the game? Yang Tian needs to discuss with them and will follow their choice. Suddenly, except for Xiaojian, Xianyuan Long and others suddenly became excited. What's wrong? Yang Tian was startled. He found that the eyes of Long and the others suddenly became determined. They had difficulty making a choice before, but now they may have made a choice. Brother, it turns out that we are just like you. To a certain extent, we are also players of Tegzu, Carrie said. Everyone in Long nodded. Only Xiaojin looked confused. Of course, he had already made a firm choice. Following Yang Tian was the only meaning of his existence. Yang Tian was shocked. In fact, he had already guessed. NPC has a soul. Even if the NPC dies, the soul still exists. Even if the angel devours the soul will still appear in the soul world, and all NPCs will not truly die. When Yang Tian discovered this, he also suspected. The NPCs are probably some aliens found by the Hat Stars for role-playing. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 700. Chapter 700. Many people are worried that I will quit writing. This is impossible. I will continue writing even if there is no achievement. I have no intention to quit writing. I am worried that everyone will get tired and then choose to write long or short. I originally wanted to write long. Feng Xian, who appeared in the previous article, is the supreme existence of the bird domain among the 10 domains. If I only write about the insect domain, he can't appear at all, and many things are difficult to explain. The voting results came out instantly, and everyone said to write a long one, so I will write a long one. Thank you for your love. I am very happy that everyone still likes this book. New readers may not know that this book has been discontinued for half a year. If you don't believe it, you can go and look through the chapter reviews of about 300 chapters. 13. CNM. The author is dead. Damn it. All the comments are like this. I feel ashamed when I read them. Old readers have left in large numbers, and the achievement and manuscript fees have plummeted. I am still writing as my original intention, and I can't bear to give up. Starting from about 300 chapters, after resuming updates, I just focused on writing the main text, not inserting digressions, and not asking for votes. First, I really don't care about grades anymore. I just don't want to disappoint those who are still following me, especially those who waited for me for half a year. Half a year. Second, it's shame. I'm embarrassed to speak up. I don't dare to face those old friends. I can only focus on writing. I don't dare to talk too much. I try to use time to cover up my past mistakes. Now, another half a year has passed. I'm doing well. I take this opportunity to say sorry to those old friends who waited for me for half a year. The reason for the suspension is because I quit smoking, not because I do whatever I want. I'm also very painful, and I've also been punished by a sharp drop in grades. At the same time, I really thank you for your support and wrong love. Next, I will still write seriously, and I still don't ask for anything. It's enough for everyone to continue reading, proving that there are still people reading what I write. If I really ask for anything, it's just to ask for attention. This is my instinct as an author. I'm afraid of loneliness and hope for more recognition, that's all. Super God Undead Lord. Author, B.A. Wangshi-san. Chapter 701. You, are also aliens in the insect domain, Yang Tian asked in astonishment. Brother Yang, I'm from the blue star in the insect domain, Xian Yuan Longer said. Me too. Me too. Alice, Chris, and Edith all nodded, looked at each other, and sighed that they were all from the same hometown. Obviously, the blue star is also very large. Although Xian Yuan Longer and others are on the same planet, they didn't know each other before, which is also very normal. My guess is right, then why did you appear in Taizhou and play NPCs? Yang Tian asked again. Because of a deal. Brother Yang, you should now know how powerful the Zerg are in the Zerg domain. Among the billions of planets in the Zerg domain, most are Zerg stars, and the Zerg are the only one. That's why our star domain is named after the Zerg domain. However, there is another force in the Zerg domain that can barely compete with the Zerg, and that force is the Galaxy Alliance. In addition to Zerg stars, there are many other life planets in the Zerg domain, such as your Earth, our blue star, and the Remtibus planet, which is what Brother Yang said about the Hat planet. Many life planets have humanoid or humanoid-like highly intelligent life, some strong and some weak. In order to compete with the Zerg, many powerful life planets united to form the Galaxy Alliance. Unfortunately, although our blue star is stronger than Earth, it is not qualified to join the Galaxy Alliance and be protected by the Alliance, Xian Yuan Longer said continuously. Yang Tian's heart moved. So, you blue star people promised the Hat star people to play NPC in Taizhou in exchange for the opportunity to join the Galaxy Alliance. Yes, Xian Yuan Longer, Alice, and others nodded. Tisk tisk, the great man from the Hat star who developed Taizhou is really thoughtful to do this, even though he did it to repay the Earth. Yang Tian sighed in his heart, and his favorability towards the Hat star soared infinitely. That great man, who only stole some technology on Earth, actually took great pains to develop a Taizhou and give it to the Earth. As an Earthling, Yang Tian couldn't help but be moved. Brother Yang Tian, the Hat star developed Taizhou and gave it to the Earth, probably to help you Earthlings, right? Alice laughed. Smart. Yang Tian nodded, and suddenly his heart moved, and asked, before the transaction, Longer, Alice, how old were you? 12 years old. Or 13 years old? I don't remember. Xian Yuan Longer shook his head. I was 10 years old, and you, Sister Longer, are 2 years older than me, so you should have been 12 years old at that time, Alice corrected. 6. Yang Tian laughed and shook his head. Yang Tian entered Taizhou and met Xian Yuan Longer a few months ago. At that time, Xian Yuan Longer was exactly 18 years old. According to Lu Jun, it took them several years to complete the analysis and finally run Taizhou successfully. Now it seems that they spent a full 6 years just on the analysis. The Hat star developed Taizhou, and until today, Taizhou will be shut down in one day. In between, a full 11 years have passed. Analysis for 6 years, operation for 5 years. 11 years ago, the blue star entered Taizhou, not as a player, but as an NPC, and could not go offline. During this period, they did not even have the memory of being a blue star, only some plot memories fabricated by the Hat star. And today, 11 years later, they finally woke up from their dreams, can go offline, and can go home. Another thing worth mentioning is that Earth players enter Taizhou through the game terminal, just like sleepwalking. And the blue star people are embedded in the Taizhou world with their body consciousness. The Taixu server equipment, as well as the smaller Taixu Awakening server equipment separated from it, are simply very remarkable treasures that far exceed the artifacts. Both treasures contain a world, one large and one small. Although the two treasures are about to lose their effect because of the exhaustion of energy. But energy can obviously be replenished. So, what is your choice? Yang Tian looked at Xianyuan Long Alice, and others. Because the body consciousness of the Blue Star people is embedded in the Taixu world. So, players can take them away. Go back to Blue Star, Xianyuan Long Alice and Carrie said at the same time, with very firm eyes. Well. Yang Tian forced a smile. Although he had guessed it, Long and the others really wanted to go back, and he couldn't help feeling a little lost and reluctant. This time we are parting, and we don't know when we will meet again. Xianyuan Long and Alice looked at Yang Tian, with mist in their beautiful eyes. Brother, in fact, the Hat Starman is not the leader of the Galaxy Alliance, and has no real power. What they provide to our Blue Star is just an opportunity to join the Galaxy Alliance. Whether Blue Star can truly join the Galaxy Alliance still needs to go through the Alliance assessment. Now, we have also acquired considerable strength, and naturally want to contribute to our home planet. In addition, I miss my relatives very much, and want to go home to see them, Carrie explained, his face also full of melancholy about the upcoming departure. I understand, Yang Tian grinned. In an instant, the fragrance filled the air, and Xianyuan Long and Alice, two beauties, one big and one small, rushed over and hugged Yang Tian at the same time, hugging him tightly. Yang Tian held two of the two, enjoying the blessing of having two wives. However, Yang Tian felt guilty and didn't know how to explain to Lu Yan. Just when Yang Tian was distracted, Xianyuan Long suddenly stood on tiptoe, attacked again, and kissed the corner of Yang Tian's lips. Alice's face flushed, and she quietly stood on tiptoe, but found that she still couldn't reach it, and she became more shy. Carrie, Dr. Edith, and Hill turned their heads away in embarrassment, and didn't look at her. Xianyuan Long's little mouth was just a light kiss, and it left as soon as it touched, and her pretty face blushed. This was the second time she took the initiative to kiss Yang Tian. Doctor, what about you? Yang Tian looked at Dr. Edith, changing the subject to resolve the embarrassment. I am weak and have no worries, so I choose to follow my master, Dr. Edith said. Yang Tian nodded. Xianyuan Long Alice and Carrie chose to return to Blue Star. Xiaojian, Dr. Edith chose to follow Yang Tian. Yang Tian didn't need to ask Xiaojian's wishes, knowing that he would follow him. Okay, you guys go back as soon as possible, Yang Tian said. Brother, help me rebuild my body, Carrie said. Understood. Yang Tian's momentum shook, and he instantly turned into a skeleton warrior and slashed with a sword. Whoosh! A vertical red air blade broke through the air and instantly chopped Carrie's skeleton body. Carrie died and his soul was separated. All souls instantly ascended to the soul world, gathered into a complete soul, and the body gradually solidified. After a slight smile, it turned into white light and disappeared. Come on, strive to pass the Alliance assessment and let Blue Star join the Galaxy Alliance. Yang Tian raised his sword and shouted, saying goodbye for the last time. Longer and Alice nodded with tears in their eyes, and their delicate bodies disappeared in the white light.